started studying Bitcoin and learning about smart contracts and thought to myself, well, this is going to disrupt the entire banking industry. And here we are 5 years later, and that's exactly what it's doing.
Welcome to another episode of Efani Features, and today my guest is Mikhail from CertiK. Did I pronounce CertiK properly? Is that
CertiK. I think it started
okay?
as CertiK, and now it's CertiK. We'll
Okay,
go with CertiK.
goes all right. All right, but today it's CertiK. So Mikhail, let's start off with the easy one, which is why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then also how you came to be at CertiK and how you got into the smart contract auditing.
Sure. First of all, Mark, thanks so much for having me on. Obviously, it's really nice it's very refreshing to share the passion of security with somebody such as yourself. A little bit about myself. I started off in banking, and then around the time when COVID hit, things kind of took a different turn, and I was looking for my next big journey, so to speak, and decided that blockchain technology was going to be that thing. At the time, I was just looking for an opportunity to be able to work from home, honestly, and started studying Bitcoin and learning about smart contracts, and thought to myself, well, this is going to disrupt the entire banking industry. And here we are 5 years later, and that's exactly what it's doing. So started at CertiK in August of 2021. And at the time, we were just drinking out of a fire hydrant. Everybody was looking to do an audit, and we're the largest Web3 security firm in the space. And then 2022 hit, things kind of slowed down. And that was when I decided to make my relationships a little bit more personable and started attending conferences. And I founded a community called Network Spotlight. It's a community of vetted founders, operators, and essentially Web3 professionals. And so on a monthly basis, we would join virtual calls, or we would meet up in person. And it's just a great way for us to stay connected. And then just like you, I also have a podcast as well.
Okay. And the community spotlight, this is separate from CertiK? This is just something you sort of do on the side and
Yeah, great question. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a personal passion of mine to do that. And
okay.
so it is separate. My full-time job is at CertiK. I lead a North American business development team. Yeah, been doing that since 2021.
Okay. Now before we go on to CertiK, like if who would be interested in joining your spotlight community? Like what kind of profile are you looking for and how would they reach out? Because I think that there's might be some people that watch this that may find that interesting, may want to be part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. They can go to networkspotlight.io and just fill out the contact form, and I'll get in touch with them. The kind of people that are typically interested in joining our community are people that are looking to connect with other professionals in the industry. You have the regular crypto enthusiasts, and then you have those that are actually working in the space. They might be working for, say, a DeFi protocol, or they might be building something themselves. So these are typically developers. These are typically people that are in the business development field, or operations perhaps, and they're either servicing a lot of these Web3 projects, or they're actually building themselves.
All right. So if that interests anybody that's watching this, go check it out and join. Now and now before we go on to CertiK, you made a comment where I have to comment on this is about the banking and how it's changing. And I tell people at least once a week, I'm telling somebody that pay attention, even if you're not following like crypto or Bitcoin, like we're watching history being made. And it's just like every week there's like two or three just huge, news things that are coming out about crypto, about digital assets, about stable coins. And so I think you couldn't be more right about how this is going to change and it's changing. And a lot of it's going to change without a lot of people that don't even realize it. Um, So that's a
Absolutely.
sort of a
Yeah, I was just going to add, Mark, the thing about what we do at CertiK is our job is essentially to protect these projects from exploits, right? So that way the users that are investing in them are not impacted. And so you kind of have to keep up with all the trends. And to your point, you're seeing the stablecoin bill pass, and you're starting to see a lot of companies now add crypto to their balance sheet.
yeah.
So the irony here is now you have people getting into crypto through the traditional finance route, but I still believe that it'll trickle into crypto because ultimately, if these companies that are holding these cryptocurrencies, they will have to be buying more in order to try to implement the same strategy as Michael Saylor, no pun intended.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I was reading just a couple weeks ago. I was doing research for a video I wanted to do on data breaches and how much was stolen via SIM swaps versus uh, like kind of Web3 hacks. And one of the things I was surprised about was that the article said that that I was getting information from said that there was over $2 billion hacked from DeFi platforms in 2024. And so is part of that because the smart contracts were not up to par, or is it, or you think that's a mix between that and just back end hacks? Like, where do you think a lot of that's coming from?
It's a great question. And traditionally, it's been the smart contracts that have had majority of the vulnerabilities. And it's a big reason why the industry is always looking to get their smart contracts audited. But what we're finding at CertiK is that it's secondary now to phishing attacks. And so private key mismanagement is becoming a really big issue. And we've kind of seen it with some of the big
Yeah.
stories, like Bybit, for instance, one of the largest exchanges, and how they've been hacked. And so the operational security of how you're managing your keys, who do you have as a signer, time lock, what kind of wallet are you using? These are all steps that teams can take now to protect themselves. And then, of course, they can talk to a security professional, an auditor in the space that has an understanding of what it's like to navigate that. It's one of the things that we focus at CertiK.
Okay. And it's probably important that you get the smart contract right to start from. And 'cause I'd imagine that some of the issues are like they were born out of a smart contract written 3 years ago that wasn't audited properly and today has holes in it. Is there, can you go back in time and clean up things like that? Can a company clean up things like that?
So an audit is a snapshot in time, essentially, when you do a smart contract audit. And anytime you make any changes to that smart contract, you would want to make sure that it is re-audited. Also, hackers have new ways of exploiting contracts. And so you might have like reentrancy risk or some other type of risks that are very common, but um, this industry is evolving so fast, not just for the good guys, but the bad guys as well, that you want to make sure you stay up to date. And so today's day and age, just doing a smart contract audit is usually not enough. You would want to make sure you've got some kind of ongoing security measures in place, whether it's conducting re-audits, whether it's doing a bug bounty, if your code base is
Yeah.
open source, so that way the community can get involved in making sure that you are protected. And then also the on-chain monitoring piece. We have an amazing tool at CertiK called Skynet, where we perform on-chain monitoring to watch out for suspicious activity for the smart contracts.
Okay. So whether you're a new company with a smart contract or you've been around for 5 years, you just want to have continual audits then? Is it something that you recommend that they do like once a year? Is it every 6 months?
Yeah, ideally, I mean, it all depends on the risk that it carries. So whenever you have, especially like vaults, governance contracts, staking contracts, these contracts tend to carry more risk. And so, especially with those, you want to do it more often than not. Now, there are some caveats here, or I should say, there are some hurdles here for a lot of Web3 projects. So I want to mention that this is also assuming that they have the budget, right?
Mm.
It requires money to develop this stuff. It also requires money to have this audited. And one of the biggest issues for majority of these projects is they just don't have the sufficient funding in order to be able to uh, have these proper technical audits in place. Or let's say they have 5 smart contracts and they only have the budget for one. So they may go and have a token smart contract audited and then say, oh, we've been audited by so and so, we're safe now. Well, that's obviously not how it works.
Mm.
And as CertiK, we try to be very transparent in terms of the current state of that audit, and then also how much of their smart contracts actually have been audited.
Okay. Now, if somebody is watching this video, a business watch is this, and they say, okay, I'm interested. How do they get engaged with CertiK? What's the process for them to contact CertiK? And then is it one person they talk to? Is it a team that sort of evaluates what the needs are? What would be the process for somebody?
Sure. Yeah. So we've got an amazing team. So you can go to CertiK.com and there's a contact form there. And then one of the representatives will be in touch with you. I myself like to get boots on the ground as well. So if anybody wants to connect with me directly, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them, learn about what they're building, understand what it is that they're thinking about having audited, or perhaps maybe they're outgrowing their existing infrastructure and they're thinking about how do I make sure that we don't have a Bybit situation, right? How do we make sure that we uh, have the right structure and security in place to make sure that we don't get baited into some kind of phishing scam attempt. So they can contact me directly. I'm more than happy to have that conversation. And once we understand what the scope is, we'll be able to let them know when can we start, how much is it going to cost, what everything that will entail.
Okay. And when CertiK is done with the job, is it like a certification? Are you providing them a report that says like these three vulnerabilities here, you got to close these, or are you staying with them until they just get it all cleaned up?
It's a great question. So usually the first step is we'll look at the initial code and we'll provide a preliminary report. This is kind of like a rough draft. And then based on that, the team will have the opportunity to either acknowledge these findings, or if they want to clean it up and mitigate those findings, they can certainly do that as well. So that's kind of what we call the remediation process in the industry. Once they clean up the vulnerabilities that they feel is important to clean up, then we will go in and say, okay, these are the initial findings. Out of these initial findings, these are the ones that have been just acknowledged by the team, and these are the ones that have been fixed. And then again, we just try to keep things very transparent. And our job isn't necessarily to provide a stamp of approval. It's a very big misconception in the industry. Our job is simply to state the status of those smart contracts or that backend code. And then it's up to you as the user to determine, is this something that you actually want to get involved with? So one of the really neat things about CertiK is we try to make it very user friendly for non-technical people to understand. And there's a lot of skill that's involved in taking something that is very technical and digesting it in a very non-technical format. So when you go to skynet.certik.com, you can see your profile as a project. You can see your security score. Our team will work with you in improving that security score. So this isn't like a transactional, you complete an audit and then off you go. We'll continue to
Okay.
work together to increase your security posture. So that way your community or whoever else is out there that is interested in potentially buying your token, or perhaps maybe they just want to use your platform. They feel safe and confident to do so.
Okay. And does CertiK focus on the US market, North America, or is it a global company?
It is a global company, so my job here is to focus on North America. So I've got a team of talented business developers as well, and we have our engineers here in North America. Our headquarters is in New York, so it's nice to be able to work together to help get the job done.
Okay. And then is there common questions? Like if there was, is there two or three questions that you wish people would ask you that you just get asked all the time that you would want to tell the viewers?
Yeah, I think the biggest questions is how long does it take to complete an audit? And usually that depends on the length of the code base. What is actually the scope that you're wanting us to assess? And if somebody out there is not really sure, we can kind of help work through that and talk to you about that. That's not a problem. When can you start? So typically security auditing firms, it's not a business that is easily to scale just because you're dealing with security and there's a lot of risk involved. And so our uh, company is one of the largest. And so we have the ability to provide very timely audits. And then, of course, the cost, which is on everybody's mind whenever they want to talk to a security auditor. So I would say those are the three probably most important questions that people try to ask. And I encourage those that are listening that they are interested in talking to an auditor. I would say establish a relationship so that way you can start to get those questions answered.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything that you want to share? I think you had mentioned that there was a report possibly that is that something that you feel like it would be appropriate to insert in here in the discussion?
Yeah, outside of just doing the security auditing, we have a team of researchers. We study the industry. And just yesterday, we published our report where we essentially give a 30,000-foot overview about what's going on in the Web3 cybersecurity space. And so it's pretty interesting and somewhat alarming, some of these numbers. So I'll share my screen here so you can see. So this is assessing the second quarter of 2025. And you can see that over 800 million was lost across 144 incidents in Q2 2025. A lot of these were, a majority, I should say, have been around phishing attacks, as I mentioned to you, with over 390 million stolen across 52 incidents. The code vulnerability, which we discussed with whether it be smart contracts or perhaps some of the backend code, that was 47 incidents. And Ethereum, of all the ecosystems, is leading the way with 70 hacks, scams, and exploits. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that Ethereum is bad. It's just Ethereum remains the largest ecosystem. So naturally, if you're going to be the largest, you will have the most exploits. So that's not necessarily very surprising. But it's nice to see that there's also funds that have been returned. And so as this industry matures, we're finding ways to return stolen funds. And so you're seeing that here play out with 180 million that has been returned, leading to adjusted total losses of 620 million for the quarter. And so, yeah, I mean, if you look at the average loss per incident, it still remains very high, over 4 million. And in the great words of Kobe Bryant, job's not done, right? There's
Yeah.
a lot of work to be done here. And these this snapshot here just kind of shows that.
Yeah, 2025 is looking like 2024, a repeat. Like it's a lot of work to be done, and if crypto is going to be successful, we need to stop these hacks from happening. It's bad for the industry. So if somebody wants to access or contact CertiK, what the website is it CERTI
CertiK.com.
CertiK.com. Okay.
Yeah, they can go to the blog section, check out this report. We have other really interesting blog posts from our engineers that are a little bit more technical for those that want to read something on the technical side. Um, Again, there's a contact form there if you want to get in touch with our team. If somebody wants to contact me directly, I'm more than happy to provide my Telegram handle so that way people can reach out to me. And yeah, we're securing the Web3 world. We're helping teams elevate their Web3 journey. And so anything I could do to help and support, happy to do so.
Okay. You're also on LinkedIn if they wanted to track you down there, I'd imagine.
I am,
Yeah.
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 I am on LinkedIn. Happy to share that link as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you are watching this and you need a smart contract audit, then check out CertiK.com or contact Mikhail directly. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. I think we've covered it all, and I appreciate your time. And hopefully we get some people that need some smart contracts to be reviewed and reach out to you guys.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark.
Yep. Thank you.